It was supposed to be a peaceful Saturday night. A man, his garden, a few roses, and a long overdue moment of quiet. But instead, there was a loaded Glock pointed at his chest, a rookie cop yelling at him like he was some kind of threat. And the wildest part? The man with dirt on his hands wasn't just anyone. He was the sitting governor of Arizona. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. Earlier that evening, Elijah Monroe had finally wrapped up a brutal week. Budget meetings, press ambushes, and a scandal he didn't even start, but had to clean up anyway. Being the governor of a state like Arizona wasn't just about speeches and ribbon cuttings. It was nonstop decisions, pressure, and people second-guessing your every move. So, when he finally got home to his private estate on the edge of Phoenix, all he wanted was a little dirt therapy. Not press conferences, not protocol, just a man, some roses, and a shovel. Elijah had this old habit, one that confused his security detail and delighted his wife. He loved gardening. Real, hands in the soil, sweat on your brow, down on your knees kind of gardening. That night, he was planting a rare midnight velvet rose his wife Nina had picked up at a local nursery. Wearing old jeans, a faded U of A t-shirt, and muddy boots. No watch, no phone, no badge of office. Just him and the soil under a soft yellow porch light. And that's when everything went sideways. From the far end of his yard, near the broken security fence that hadn't been fixed yet, he heard it, branches snapping, a sudden rustle, then footsteps. He stood up, shovel in hand, squinting toward the hedge, and before he could say a word, a flashlight beam hit him in the face. "Drop the shovel, now, hands where I can see them or I swear I'll shoot." The voice was trembling, trying real hard to sound like authority, but it cracked, young, scared, overcompensating. And standing there was a police officer. Couldn't have been older than 23, with wide eyes, sweat beading on his forehead, and a service weapon trained right on Elijah's chest. Elijah froze. He'd been through enough tense situations to know not to make a wrong move, even when you are the governor. So slowly, painfully slowly, he lowered the shovel, placed it on the grass, and raised his hands. His palms were covered in dark soil, still warm from the earth he'd just dug. "Evening, officer," he said calmly. "This is my home." But the officer wasn't having it. "You break into this place?" he barked. "You know whose property this is?" Elijah looked him dead in the eye. "Yeah, mine." That only made it worse. The kid, Officer Trent Madison according to his name tag, laughed, a mean, condescending chuckle that barely hid his panic. "Oh, come on, man. You expect me to believe you own this mansion? You're dressed like a maintenance guy. I got a call about a suspicious man with a weapon in the governor's yard. That's you, buddy." Elijah sighed, kept his hands up. He knew this type, the kind who hadn't been trained enough, hadn't lived enough, and hadn't learned when to listen. "Officer, I'm Elijah Monroe, governor of this state. You can call my security detail, they're stationed out front. Or better yet, call your supervisor." But Trent just sneered. "Impersonating a state official is a felony. I'm not stupid." And that's when the situation turned from absurd to dangerous. "Turn around. Hands on the fence," Trent ordered. "Now." Elijah knew better than to argue. He did as asked, slowly, and felt the cold barrel of the gun lower slightly but still present. The search was rough, disrespectful, like Trent was trying to prove something. But there was nothing to find. Just gloves, a crumpled seed packet, and a man with more restraint than most would have had. Then came the twist. A voice rang out from the patio, sharp, full of worry. "Eli, are you okay? What's going on out here?" Nina Monroe, elegant, fierce, in her cream silk robe, stood there holding a flashlight, confusion written across her face. And when she saw what was happening, her husband being frisked like a common criminal in their backyard, her calm shattered. "Oh my God, Trent, what the hell are you doing? That's the governor. That's my husband." Everything stopped. The flashlight wobbled in Trent's hand. His expression went from cocky to confused to absolutely terrified. "What did you just say?" he stammered. "I said, you're pointing a loaded weapon at the governor of Arizona in his own backyard, you idiot." You could practically hear the click in Trent's brain, gears grinding as the truth hit him like a brick to the head. The sweat on his face wasn't just from the heat anymore. He backed away, gun shaking in his hands, lips parting with a soft, stammered, I didn't know." That's when Elijah turned around. No more patient, no more diplomatic. just cold, controlled fury. His voice was low, sharp, deliberate. "Officer Madison, you just made a mistake you'll be thinking about for the rest of your life." Within seconds, two men in plain clothes stormed out from the side of the house, Elijah's private security team, who had heard Nina's scream through the intercom. The older one, Captain Reese, a grizzled ex-Marine with eyes that could melt concrete, took one look at the scene and didn't need to ask questions. "Are you all right, sir?" Reese asked, hand on his holster. "I'm fine," Elijah muttered. "But maybe you can explain to the officer here who I am, and what protocol he just violated by entering this property without coordination." Reese turned to Trent with a glare that could cut steel. "You just pointed a weapon at the sitting governor of this state, son. That's not just reckless, that's career-ending." Trent looked like he might faint. His knees buckled slightly. His mouth opened. No words came out. The next morning, the whole city was buzzing. The Phoenix Police Department issued a formal apology. An internal investigation was launched within hours. Trent Madison was suspended indefinitely pending review for misconduct, violation of protocol, and failure to verify identification before use of force. The news ran clips of the governor's speech about the importance of restraint, training, and recognizing unconscious bias. But here's the thing. Elijah? He didn't press charges. He didn't go on a press tour. Didn't demand blood. Instead, he met privately with the police chief, not to punish, but to reform. He insisted on expanded emotional intelligence training for all rookies, de-escalation, civil rights, pattern recognition, real accountability, not just punishments, but prevention. Because Elijah knew, if a young officer could pull a gun on him based solely on how he looked in the dark, what would have happened if it was someone else? Someone without a powerful last name, someone without security, without a Nina to shout from the porch? It could have ended very differently. And yet, it didn't. It ended with a rose still waiting to be planted. A man in muddy boots standing calmly while chaos roared around him. And a lesson. One we'd all better start taking seriously. So now I ask you, what would you have done in Governor Monroe's shoes? Was his calm, measured response a sign of real leadership? Or did Officer Madison deserve harsher consequences? And more importantly, what does this say about where we are today and where we're heading if we don't fix this? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you stand with Governor Monroe's grace, or do you believe it's time for zero tolerance on reckless policing? Share your thoughts. I'm listening.